Man, what's up, family? I appreciate you for tapping into another edition of Bread of Justice. Now, today, we got a jam-packed show. We're going to touch on a few different topics. We're looking at Jeffrey Epstein. We're looking at, then we got Nicki Minaj on the docket. Of course, we got to jump right back into Don Lemon arrest. We tapped into that last week, and so there's been a major update on that. I'm pretty sure you heard about it. We're going to tap into that. And let's see what else we got on the docket. We also got, look like Trump and the border czar, Tom Homan, said they weren't pulling out of Minnesota anytime soon. So we're going to tap into that interview that they did over there on that side. And yeah, man. And for this show, we do have a call-in link. We're accepting all smoke. And it don't have to be smoke. We're accepting all conversations on the topics. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. It will be there for the duration of the show. So at any point, at any moment, feel free to interrupt me. Hit the link. Let me know you coming up. We're going to get it popping. So first we're going to check out the new Epstein files that came out. Now, like I always say, you got to bear with me. We new to this, not yet true to it. So let's see what we can get done. All right. So right now we're looking at. Boom. So let's get into it. Now, this will be my first time viewing it right here alongside with you. Live reactions to it. Now, we're not going to jump into the entire interview. The interview is almost 2 hours long. And we're going to hit on some things that I felt were kind of stood out to me personally. Some time steps in it. Let's see the first part we're going to tap into. A second. Where we at? Let's see. Bad things. Y'all let me know in the comments if y'all can hear that. We getting audio on that? No audio. Let's see if I can. Bear with me. Take over the screen capture. Bear with me, man. Let's see if we can get this audio together. Better early than later.
Have people around me who've given lots of
How about now?
philanthropic gifts to
How we looking now?
institutions of higher learning. And when I said the impact, how do you judge the impact of your giving? And we sat down and said, no really new ideas have come out. And I realized that, and one of the things that people won't enjoy, it turns out that potentially one of the bad things to teach children is how to write.
Love to hear it. Shout out to Kier Kemp.
Writing, reading, and
appreciate you, my boy.
Everyone's supposed to be taught. But writing forces you into a very narrow channel of thinking. You have to write in a certain form.
Now, off the rip, this part of the interview, we're looking at Jeffrey Epstein talking about bad things to teach children. Now, it's going to kind of ramp up throughout this interview. Like I said, I'm not going to play the whole thing start to finish. We'll be here all night. But let's take it step by step and see exactly a little bit of this man's ideology, some of his way of thinking, and then close to the about 5 minutes in, you will see a point where the interviewer ends up asking him a very interesting question. Asked him, would he consider himself a predator or the devil or something of that sort? And I think it's kind of interesting to look at. We're going to take a look at it.
Enjoy. It turns out that potentially one of the bad things to teach children is how to write. Writing, reading, and arithmetic was supposed to be, everyone's supposed to be taught. But writing forces you into a very narrow channel of thinking. You have to write in a certain form, in a certain way, in a certain linear pattern. So your thinking becomes somewhat narrow. The reason I brought up writing is one of the recent discoveries of mine with respect to Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle is they never wrote anything. They spoke, and people around who could write wrote. Socrates could think. So that was...
Jesus of Nazareth was the same way, right? Never wrote anything.
I thought he was a carpenter.
He was a carpenter.
Didn't he need like a little carpenter's tonight? I don't want to get that.
But at least his written record.
Right.
One last thing.
Sure. Thank you for having me to your house. Vegetable juice.
Let's go back.
Look what vegetable juice does.
When did that, the beginning of that, was there any one aha moment in all these great thinkers? Did it happen before 2008? Was it after? That came up over, I know, many years, but when did you actually realize, hey, something new's got to be developed?
Yeah, that's great. Is that because again, I'm privileged enough to have people around me who've given lots of philanthropic gifts to institutions of higher learning, and when I said the impact, how do you judge the impact of your giving? And we sat down and said, no really new ideas have come out. And I realized that, of course, it hasn't come out because we've...
Now, bear with me on this interview. It's going to start wrapping up a little bit. Now, it gets a little choppy once you get on a little further in. Let's skip ahead right here.
Okay, I'll take the cash from any source, including you. What's the other argument?
Let me give you that. I know in my case,
Is your money dirty money?
If you live,
I just asked a question. Is your money dirty money?
No, it's not. So, in fact,
why is it not dirty money?
Because I earned it,
But you earned it.
I earned it legally.
We went back to this before. You earned
Yes.
it. You earned it, advising the worst people in the world.
And let's just come out and say he earned this money trafficking children. Now, the interviewer asked him, is your money dirty money? He couldn't seem to utter the words yes. He seemed kind of brash when he said no. But if you ask me, they're saying that he earned his money through advisement. But as we know through hindsight, his money is dirty money because he earned this money through trafficking. He earned this money through victimizing children. Now, I always say, whenever you got a situation where some of these kids in these situations, a lot of times these parents are paid off, which is another conversation for another day. Let's finish hearing what he had to say.
That do enormous bad things, and just to make more money.
So, instead of asking me the question, should you take the money? Because I think it's a legitimate question.
You think it's a legitimate question?
Yes, no
Why?
question. Because I think ethics is always a complicated subject, but I can tell you that with the money I gave to help try to eradicate polio in Pakistan and India, instead of asking me whether that money should be given to these children for vaccines, I think you might want to ask their mothers who received the vaccine, who know their child now won't get polio, and ask them if Epstein should have helped these people.
Now, he said, instead of asking me, should I have given the money, let's ask the parents, should they have received it from me? Now, let me ask a question. Y'all let me know in the chat exactly what you think. I'm going to raise this question. You, right? If you had a cause or a company, or maybe you were philanthropical and someone wanted to donate money to you on your cause, and you knew for a fact that this person's pockets was deep, they were loaded, right? And they offered you, let's say, throw a number out, 10 million donated to your cause, but you knew that they had some dirty dealings. You knew for a fact that this was dirty money coming your way. Now, I'm not going to go as far as to say that it was money from the things that he did. I'm not even going to play with those sentences. But would you accept money from a donor that you knew came from an unjust cause? Let me know in the chat what you think.
If we walked in, you're a mathematician. You're a mathematician. If we walked into that clinic where they're giving that money out to these people that are in the most dire straits of poverty and sickness, and told them that the money was coming from a, what are you, class 3 sexual predator?
Tier 1.
Was tier 1's the highest and worst?
No,
I'm the lowest.
I'm the lowest.
You're the lowest. Okay, tier 1, you're the lowest. But a criminal.
If Jeffrey Epstein was documented as the lowest tier child predator, man, we got some monsters upon us. Let's hear that again.
In sickness, and told them that the money was coming from a, what are you, class 3 sexual predator?
Tier 1.
Was tier 1's the highest and worst?
No, I'm
the lowest.
I'm the lowest.
You're the lowest. Okay, tier 1, you're the lowest. But a criminal.
Yes.
That the money came from them. What percentage of people do you estimate? I understand you don't like probabilities. Do you estimate would say, I don't care, I want the money for my children?
I would say everyone said, I want the money for my children.
Did they know where the money came from?
I think if you told them, if I told them the devil,
100%.
the devil
himself.
The devil himself said, I'm going to exchange some dollars for your child's life.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
It's a serious question.
Sorry.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
I don't know. Why would you say that?
Because you have all the attributes. You're incredibly smart. You remember the devil is somebody
the devil
knows.
Smart?
The devil's brilliant. You read Milton's Paradise Lost.
No, the devil scares me.
Satan is at the number 1 or 2 archangel.
Get it out, buddy.
And the reason he goes to hell and leads the rebellion is because he can't be the top guy. And his thing is, I'd rather reign in hell than serve in heaven.
I saw that in a movie once called American Dharma. I don't remember who said it. Okay, we have to go.
Now, he asked Jeffrey, does he think he's the devil himself? Jeffrey Epstein said, no, I don't think I'm the devil, but what did he say about the mirror? What did he say?
From?
If you told them,
if I told them
the devil,
100%.
The devil
himself.
The devil himself said,
trying to get my
exchange
chat out.
some dollars for your child's life.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
It's a serious question.
Sorry.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
I don't know. Why would you say that?
Because you have all the attributes. You're incredibly smart. You remember the devil is somebody knows.
Smart?
The devil's brilliant. You read Milton's Paradise Lost.
No, the devil scares me.
Satan is at the number 1 or 2 archangel, and the reason he goes to hell and leads the rebellion is because he can't be the top guy. And his thing is, I'd rather reign in hell than serve in heaven.
I saw that in a movie once called American Dharma. I don't remember who said it. Okay.
This man's a scary dude, man. He's a scary dude to be walking among us. You pass through by people like this every day in the grocery store, and you probably will never know. We have sick people just like this guy we pass by every day in some of the most powerful positions in our communities, and a lot of times we will never know. All right, so that's pretty much the bulk of the interview that's got a lot of people in the uproar when he's asked, one, how does he classify himself as a predator? He said he's the lowest tier predator that's out there. Because you got to leave some room for the people that did business with him. You got to leave some room for the people that joined him on the island, did exchanges with him, services for power, whatever the case may be. Don't forget, this man was a very rich man. He was dealing with people from all walks of life when it comes to the power structure of our society. So, man, was nothing to be played with. So next, we're not gonna spend too much time on Jeffrey Epstein. It's not my type of topic, honestly. I knew I just had to hit on that part because it came out, I think day before yesterday it came out. But what I really want to get into, and I hate that I just not get into it, is our boy. Our boy finally got his just due after the protest they did in the church. Our boy Don Lemon was recently arrested for the protest he did at the church with, I think her name was Armstrong. Now, we were saying that we weren't sure if he would get arrested with the people, being that he was calling himself a journalist and he was just there to document, but he was there throughout every phase of it, the planning of it, the precursor, the after. He went to even talk to the head guy of the church, talk to the pastor to get an exclusive interview during it. I don't know when we ever considered Don Lemon a journalist. For sure, he was a political analyst on a news network, but to call himself a journalist, I think was a stretch. But we're not going to harp too much on that part. Let's go ahead and get straight into it and see exactly what they say about his recent arrest.
Citizen by an ICE agent last week. We're getting an update on a Minnesota lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security. The first hearing just wrapped as almost 3,000 federal officers amass in Minnesota. The lawsuit is asking the court to stop the surge. Let's go live now to Jonah Kaplan, an investigative reporter with CBS News Minnesota. Jonah, what are state officials arguing here?
Yeah, Liz, great to be with you. There's really two key points here, and one of them is going to take everyone back to their social studies class, right? What is the 10th Amendment? That is the part of the Constitution that says whatever's not written here, whatever powers we don't spell out, they go to the state. So city leaders are saying, hey, this isn't supposed to be your federal jurisdiction. Leave us alone. We got this. But really, the second part of that is, even if the federal government does have maybe probable cause, if you will, the state is saying, your problem.
Wrong clip.
Lemon has been arrested in connection with an anti-ICE protest
Bear
at
with
church
me.
in St. Paul, Minnesota. Bill Malusian joins us now with more on this breaking news. Hey, Bill.
Yeah, Charlie, good morning to you. Our colleague David Spunt and I getting this breaking news from multiple law enforcement sources just minutes ago, confirming that former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested by federal agents in Los Angeles just after midnight this morning at a hotel. This obviously all in connection with that storming of a church in St. Paul, Minnesota by that group of anti-ICE agitators. Now remember, the feds had gone to judges to try to get Don Lemon arrested before. They went to a magistrate judge in Minnesota who didn't sign off on an arrest warrant for him. Then it went to a judge above him. He didn't sign off on an arrest warrant for him. Then it went to an appeals court. They also decided not to sign off for an arrest warrant for him. So there was experts who were predicting that perhaps the feds would go to a grand jury. It remains to be seen if that's what happened here, but we can confirm that Don Lemon was arrested in Los Angeles by federal agents just after midnight Los Angeles time at a hotel. Now, typically, standard procedure with an arrest like this is the defendant will likely make their first court appearance sometime the same day. So there's a chance we may see Don Lemon make his first court appearance in Los Angeles sometime today. But obviously, this is going to grab all sorts of headlines. 3 other protesters from that church storming, have already been arrested, including who the feds say was.
Now, those 3 people that you're seeing right there at the top, I think the guy all the way on the right, he is another content creator. I forget his name. They're going to mention it when I press play. But the other 2, the one all the way to the left, that was the head lady in charge of the protest. One of the ones that Don Lemon was directly in contact with to see exactly how, what, when, where, and how. Now, they were saying that Don Lemon was there as a journalist, right? And so he shouldn't have been arrested. So how would he be a journalist if you're not reacting, but you're proactively going into a protest with these people. You're walking in the front door with them and you're leaving out the front door with them. I think as a journalist, you would have stood maybe outside on the outbounds and just reported, but he went straight in. He went straight in for it. So let's finish this news breakdown real quick before I get on my rant.
Organizer of that protest. The woman in the middle there is a school board member in St. Paul, and then the mugshot on the right is an online personality / agitator, if you want to call him that. He's known as the Woke Farmer. Those were the 3 people that the feds had already arrested, but we have confirmed that Don Lemon has now been arrested in Los Angeles in connection with that viral incident. We all saw the video of it that spread and drew widespread condemnation. The feds have been going after these people on FACE Act violations. So this is still breaking news. Once we get more details about the potential charges here, a court appearance, we'll of course update our viewers, guys.
Now, what I've been seeing lately on social media, it's been a lot of people saying that they're just after him because he's on the right side of justice. They're only after him because he's anti-MAGA or whatever the case may be. And you even have I've seen churches, some other quote unquote Christians taking up for him. Now, when I look at this, I ask myself, one of the number one things about America is we have the right to our religion. You have the right to worship and be a part of any religion, and it's a protected thing to the point where it's not to be interrupted. Now, this isn't to be infringed upon by the government. This isn't to be infringed upon by your neighbor or anyone. That is one of the most protected things that we have in our country is our freedom to worship. Now, I feel that's something that nobody's ever really crossed the line on. And if they were to allow this to go beyond where it's at now and not be reconciled, because it's not like they arrested Don Lemon and he conceded. It's not like this happened, the backlash came and he apologized or said, you know what, maybe I went a little above and beyond. You know what they're saying? They're saying that this is pure political. They're saying that the only reason Don Lemon is in trouble for what he did is because it's a political incident. Now, I don't personally agree with that. We're going to see exactly what Don Lemon had to say after his arrest to get his opinion on it.
Turned independent journalist Don Lemon out of custody, but facing federal civil rights charges after covering an anti-ICE protest inside a church near Minneapolis.
Last night, the DOJ sent a team of federal agents to arrest me in the middle of the night for something that I've been doing for the last 30 years, and that is covering the news.
Appearing in Los Angeles federal court today, Lemon charged with conspiracy to deprive rights and for violating a federal law that prohibits people from interfering with the right to attend religious services, a move Lemon's attorney calls an unprecedented attack on the First Amendment.
I will not be silenced.
The charges stemming from Lemon's coverage of this protest during a Sunday morning church service earlier this month, where demonstrators say a pastor also worked as an ICE field director.
This shows you just how divided America is.
In Lemon's live stream from inside, you can see him interviewing congregants and a pastor who asked him to leave.
We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ. This building.
Lemon repeatedly identifies himself as a journalist.
I'm just chronicling. I'm not with the group. I'm a journalist. They're activists.
But the DOJ is grouping Lemon, who's been critical of the Trump administration, and another independent journalist who was also arrested with the protest organizers. Federal authorities arresting Lemon even after a judge had initially ruled there was insufficient evidence to do so.
Make no mistake, under President Trump's leadership and this administration, you have the right to worship freely and safely. And if I haven't been clear already, if you violate that sacred right, we are coming after you.
Journalism rights groups blasting Lemon's arrest. His attorney.
Now, I don't know how you argue with that. Take religion out of it. But as an American who values your rights, how do you take up for somebody barging into a church, a home of worship? Do it to a mosque. Do it to any other temple or any other religion other than the Christian. Do it to anyone else. Try that on any other soil. How about this? Try that in the South. Try it in the South. Try it in the southern region of America. Try it in the Mid-South. I don't think you get away with that there. I don't think you get away with that outside of the area you was in. People don't play like that. I don't know anybody. I don't know any church congregation in modern time outside of that area in the New England area of the United States that would allow something like that. I don't see anyone allowing a group of people to barge into a church and protest during service. All I have to say is everybody's not going to change, and not everybody's turning the other cheek. I don't think I've probably learned how to turn the other cheek. I don't think I've probably learned how to let go and let God. I don't think I can sit in my seat and just say, all right, family, let's go. I think it would have been a problem that day. I think that I would have put myself in harm's way. I do not see any other outcome other than civil unrest for Don Lemon barging into the church with a group of protesters. I knew he was going to get arrested, and I said it on the last stream. Why? Because they arrested everyone else that was involved. They arrested the head lady. They arrested all the other social media people that was involved. And the last person on that list was Don Lemon, as well as some other stragglers who didn't get caught. But I said it and I called it. I knew for a fact he was going to get caught up in this. Not because I think they're going to weaponize the justice system against him, but I think it's just plain wrong. I don't think anybody's checking for Don Lemon. I don't think anyone's checking for Don Lemon. I've in my personal life, I've never heard Don Lemon be brought up ever. I'm probably the only person in my social circle who even knows who Don Lemon is. No one's checking for Don Lemon. I don't see the justice system caring to weaponize their resources to go after Don Lemon. I'm just being honest. He's a content creator. He say he's a journalist. He's never been a journalist. We've never known him to be a journalist. So, I mean, let's finish the rest of this. And man, this is just one of those topics that just really rubbed me the wrong way. But let's get it done.
Don has been a journalist for 30 years, and his constitutionally protected work in Minneapolis was no different than what he has always done.
And while Don Lemon was released without having to pay bail, the judge did place some restrictions on his release. He can't travel internationally without approval from the court. He also can't speak to victims or witnesses or any co-defendants without the presence of counsel in that case. Lemon has not yet entered a plea, although in the hearing yesterday, his attorney said he will be pleading not guilty, and the next hearing is scheduled for February 9th in Minneapolis. Laura.
All right, Liz Kreutz in L.A. Thank you, Liz.
Hey, thanks for watching.
Now, this next clip we're going to show is going to be Don Lemon speaking on the arrest himself from his point of view, pretty much right after he got released, got himself cleaned up, got his cream suit on, and addressed the media. It's not going to be the full entirety of the speech, of course. We don't have enough time for all that, but it's going to be a decent portion of it. I don't like censoring anybody or cutting anyone's voice. So I'm definitely going to play and see exactly how he felt about it. And I don't stray away from any news media. I always pick my sources from a little bit throughout the show. You'll see different news media, whether it's ABC, NBC, Fox Now, any of them. I like to pick a little bit of each one of them because I want to get a perspective from each and every walk of life, not only just what I think or who I think presents things from my point of view. So let's get straight into what Don Lemon had to say himself about the arrest right after his release.
Everybody ready? So look, I want to thank everybody for their support. It truly means the world to me. I have no idea what's going on because obviously I haven't seen anything. I have spent my entire career covering the news. I will not stop now. In fact, there is no more important time than right now, this very moment, for a free and independent media that shines a light on the truth and holds those in power accountable. Again, I will not stop now. I will not stop ever. Last night, the DOJ sent a team of federal agents to arrest me in the middle of the night for something that I've been doing for the last 30 years, and that is covering the news. The First Amendment of the Constitution protects that work for me and for countless of other journalists who do what I do.
So he's riding on the First Amendment to be the reason why his actions were justified. Now, I don't think that your First Amendment allows you to encroach on a worship service. I think that your First Amendment gets cut right there. You don't have the right to do that. And you say you've been practicing journalism for 30 years. You were a news analyst. You were not in the field. Journalism and whatever the word is. You wasn't in the field doing it. We've never seen you do that. What we seen you do was you sit in front of the camera with the teleprompter in front of you and read off scripts that were given to you by your network. You were not a journalist. You were a news analyst. I'm not even going to go as far to say a political analyst. You were a news analyst. So to sit here and lean on being a journalist today is disingenuous. It's completely disingenuous. Now, I'm not going to keep ranting on. Let's play the rest of this so he can get his full speech, and I'm going to give mine.
I stand with all of them, and I will not be silenced. I look forward to my day in court. Thank you all.
Now, he's saying what I want to hear him say right now. He's speaking to exactly what we want to hear. Don Lemon said he looks forward to his day in court. So do we. Don Lemon is saying that basically he has no regrets or any ill feeling towards his actions. That's exactly what we need him to say on camera before his court day, because we need you to be able to hold full responsibility for your actions once it's your day. Now, if this goes unpunished, what does this mean for Don Lemon? He becomes a martyr. Don Lemon will become somebody who has been propped up by the justice system, and I believe he will receive more popularity, more following, and a bigger voice if he's not held accountable properly. I don't think these are things that you cannot hold someone accountable for, because once you already put him on the front line, you've put him in front of everybody's screens, and you're already making people think that this is a weaponization of the justice system. And then you turn around and not punish him, they're going to say that this arrest was simply for the optics, that it was unconstitutional that you arrested him in the beginning, and they're going to look at Don Lemon as a hero. They're going to start looking at Don Lemon as someone who did the American people a just due. They're going to start looking at Don Lemon as someone who allowed people to freely express themselves no matter what the situation is. So what? He ran into a church, stopped services, stopped worship, and to protest during a worship service. So what? He did that. It's constitutional. So guess what happens next? Someone follows. And people do it more and more for other causes, not just for protesting ICE, but for anything they seem fit. And what we're going to reference back to is the federal case where Don Lemon got off scot-free for doing the exact same thing. It has to be, it has to be a balance.
Okay, first of all, we want to apologize for that gentleman behind Don Lemon wearing a T-shirt with a vulgarity on that. We could not control the framing of the shot. We do, however, want to take you right now to Ms. Damaris for some interpretation of what we just heard. Don Lemon out on a personal recognizance bond. Misty, what does that mean?
That means that he's being released without any restrictions relating to posting bond or bail. He will be able to travel in the domestic United States. He will have to ask permission to leave the country, but he will not be held or imprisoned while he is awaiting the legal process.
And just to remind the audience, if you just tuned in, we talked about this a few minutes ago, but this is a really complicated First Amendment case, right? You've got freedom of religion and the right to worship, and you've got freedom of the press.
Right. The charge relates to the deprivation of civil rights and the freedom of expression. So essentially what the charge says is that Don Lemon and other co-conspirators planned to interfere with the ability of churchgoers to participate in their religion by going into that church. Now, Don Lemon is asserting that he was a journalist at the time and therefore protected by the First Amendment to report on things that are of public interest. So this is going to be the showdown in court. And I would expect his lawyers to be levying a defense and challenging these charges right from the get-go.
Mr. Maris, thank you very much.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news.
Yo, Kim, I'm just not seeing that coming. You said once you get the money, it's not dirty no more. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Dirty or not, once it's mine, it's mine. I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do with it, though. I can show you how to clean $1. Definitely show you how to clean $1. So yeah, that's Don Lemon's arrest. He's out. Hopefully, we can get our just due for that, man. I'm really hoping so. What we got next on the docket? So next we looking at, before we jump into some other things, let's finish up the ICE conversations real quick so we can get off of that. I'll jump into. Yeah, we're going to jump out of those, finish up the ICE conversation so we can get into some other things that we got on the list for today. Tom Homan says that they're staying in Minnesota until the problem is done. Tom Homan and Trump has done an interview recently saying that they won't be leaving Minnesota anytime soon until their job is done. Even after the two recent shootings with Renee Good and Alex Pretty. Now, I have not done a breakdown on those shootings. I personally don't plan on doing it. I personally like talking about loss of life, honestly. And I'm probably won't see me doing any of those type of breakdowns. But what you will see me talk about is the things going on around it. So let's get into it. So Tom Homan recently replaced the Border Patrol's commander amid the recent shooting of Alex Pretty. They ended up stepping. I don't think he was demoted. They just replaced him to not be over what was going on in Minnesota. People are celebrating, but let's be real. You know the guy's not going to lose his job. Let's get into exactly what Tom Homan had to say when it came to ICE leaving Minnesota anytime soon after those shootings. And if you're not familiar with Tom Homan is Trump's personal border czar. If you're not familiar with a border czar is someone that's appointed by the president who's the head of the operations that's going on the border. Now, he was his border czar, his first presidency. He brought him back to this presidency. Tom Homan is a no-nonsense guy with a huge disdain for immigration, anything against children or violence against Americans. He's an American guy, if you ask me. The things that he talks about and he gripes about, I feel is something that all Americans should be able to reason with. And one thing he doesn't let go is that Lakeland Riley case. And I know that's a name that you all have not heard a lot of since it happened, but it is a name that cannot be forgotten when we're talking about Border Patrol, ICE, immigration, and things of that nature, because they try to bury it as if it never happened. But one thing we're not going to let rest on this channel is the Lakeland Riley Act. The Lakeland Riley Act.
I've been on the ground less than 3 full days. I got in here Monday. President of the United States called me Monday morning and asked me to deploy here. Got here Monday evening, and I'm staying till the problem's gone. I've heard many people want to know why we're talking to people who they don't consider friends to administration. Bottom line is you can't fix problems if you don't have discussions. I didn't come to Minnesota for photo ops or headlines. You haven't seen me. I came here to seek solutions, and that's what we're going to do. And we've come a long way, and we got some good wins for the people of Minnesota, I think. Nothing's ever perfect, and anything can be improved on. And what we've been working on is making this operation safer, more efficient, by the book. The mission is going to improve because of the changes we're making internally. We will conduct targeted enforcement operations. Targeted. What we've done for decades. When we hit the streets, we know exactly who we're looking for. Good idea where we may find them. But we're going to enforce immigration law. For the people that saying we're here to surrender our authority and the mission of enforcing immigration law, you are wrong. We're going to do targeted enforcement operations, and we're going to prioritize the public safety threats and national security threats. That is what we're here to do.
Now, Tom Homan says it's business as usual. Tom Homan says it's business as usual. He's saying that we're going to do targeted interventions, but the only difference is going to be between today and yesterday is we're going to do it by the book. And you know, when somebody buckles down to doing something by the book, they want to make sure everything done after there is justified. You can't put no light on me because I did my job. What happens after that is out of my hands. This man came up calm, cool, and collected. I like Tom Homan. He's a smooth dude. I think the things that he speaks on are important to me, and I think should be important to everyone, especially parents. If you're not familiar with Tom Homan, I give you a homework assignment. Remove his name from the administration he's working for, and just do your research on him and the things that's important to him and why he's doing the job he's doing. They once asked Tom Homan when he came back to the administration time, because he previously retired, came out of retirement to work for this administration again. He said, I told Trump I would have came for free. I don't even need a salary. I just want to serve my country because I can. Do your research on Tom Homan, man. I'm not accepting no Tom Homan slander. Do your research on my boy. Now, Trump recently had a talk around the same topic about Minnesota, pulling out of Minnesota amid the shootings that happened recently. He had some choice words for the news reporters. Nothing crazy, but he pretty much put his foot down and let them know that pretty much the same thing, man. The job's not done. The job's not done. We can't go home. We're not pulling out no time soon. We still got work to do. And I think the problem isn't in the things that they're doing. The problem is the people surrounding the agents while they're doing their job. Now, I live in one of the most police cities in the United States. The city that I'm in right now, Donald Trump has released the full government into, and we're talking HSI, FBI, ATF, Border Patrol, ICE. Everyone is in my city. And when I say we have zero problems, there has been zero incidents. And I think that what you're seeing in Minnesota is not only planned, but it's curated for a specific reason. But before we get into that, I don't want to get too far into what we're talking about right now. Let's watch this clip on Trump and what he had to say about drawing out of Minnesota anytime soon.
Say ICE has not changed its ways despite a change in command. Border Czar Tom Homan says that he is working on a drawdown plan for ICE, but President Trump says there isn't a pullback of immigration enforcement right now. CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi joins us live. Olivia, what are we hearing from the Trump administration about the future of ICE in Minneapolis?
Well, it's good to be with you. There seems to be a bit of mixed messaging right now between what is going on the ground in Minneapolis and what the White House is saying. Earlier this week, Tom Homan was dispatched to Minneapolis to kind of change what's going on the ground there after there was an outcry and protest on how DHS Secretary Kristi Noem and Greg Bavino, who's the commander-at-large of CBP, was handling the mass immigration raids happening there. Homan seemed to say that they are trying to pull back on the number of agents who are in the city, also saying that they're going to focus on targeted operations instead of these very broad ICE raids that we had been seeing. But last night, President Trump, while he was on the black carpet at the premiere of Melania's documentary, had this to say.
will you be pulling back immigration enforcement agents out of Minnesota?
We want to keep our country safe. We'll do whatever we can to keep our country safe.
So you're not pulling back?
No, not at all.
So they asked Trump, "You're not pulling back?" Trump said it very clear. No, not at all. Trump doesn't plan on leaving Minnesota no time soon. Trump isn't worried about none of the shootings that happened, none of the backlash. If he asks me, he ain't checked twice for him. I don't think Trump gives a darn about what's going on in Minnesota as far as the people who's interacting with the troops on the ground. I think that you go out looking for trouble, you get trouble. Now, me personally, I have yet to become a victim in one of these protests. And I slightly feel it has something to do with the fact that I'm not in them and that I'm not actively going to attack agents. Now, there was a video that came out, and let's find this video real quick. There was a video that came out of Alex Pretty. I believe it was the day before, or not the day before, or some days before the shooting happened. Now, Alex Pretty was seen kicking border patrol agents' cars, ICE cars, spitting on them, all type of crazy stuff. And if you from where I'm from, we don't play that spitting stuff, man. You don't spit on nobody. If you spit on somebody, I think you deserve everything that comes to you after that. That's disgusting. Let's see. Let's find the video. See if we can find it. Yeah, here it is. So check out this updated video. This is Alex Pretty. Now, some people are coming out saying this video is AI. They're saying this is AI. They're saying that this video that I'm about to show you is AI. They hate it. And you know who they is. They hate it when you got a little bit on them. But let's see exactly what Alex Pretty was doing days before he was shot and killed by ICE.
Which has emerged of Alex Pretty, filmed 11 days before he was fatally shot by Border Patrol officers in Minaj. Back up.
My bad. I'm going to replay the beginning of this again. Pay attention to what he just did.
New footage has emerged of Alex Pretty, filmed 11 days before he was fatally shot by Border Patrol officers in Minaj. Spitting
on people. This grown-ass nurse is out here spitting on people for doing that, spitting on them.
On January 24th. In the footage, filmed on January 13th, Pretty is seen here, shouting expletives and spitting at a federal immigration agent's car during a protest. He then kicks the agent's vehicle, breaking a tail light. The agents exit their vehicle and a
Now, I'm not commenting on the shooting, but what I am going to comment on, this man acting like a grown-ass child. I don't care what the situation is, what's the back and forth, you spitting on people, you kicking their tail lights out. If you are a responsible adult, you have a job, you have something to lose, what are you doing? If you are the victim that they say you are, why are you the aggressor in another clip? Why are you always on the scene? Was the shooting justified? That's a different conversation. That's not this conversation. What this conversation is, what situation did this man put himself in? If you put your shoes on, you put your jacket on, and you walk out the house looking for trouble, 10 times out of 10, I guarantee you're going to find it. I promise.
Pretty, on the ground, loses his coat. When he gets back up, what appears to be a handgun.
With a gun on his hip. With a gun on his hip. With a gun on his hip. You try it. You go out here and go find a police officer pulling somebody over. Make sure you got your gun on your hip. They go spit on him. Go kick the taillights out of that officer car. You tell me what's going to happen to you that day. I think he got off kind of well. I think that Alex Pretty found himself in an ideal situation after this day right here. I think that Alex Pretty was a lucky man. I think that Alex Pretty was given a second chance by God. I think he was given grace for his situation to go reflect and to see this man go up on an ICE agent, spit on him, kick the taillights out their car with a gun on his hip. With a gun on his hip? With a gun on his hip attacking a federal agent. I don't know how much more privilege you can be given as a human to be allowed to do that. And now they're saying that this man, Alex Pretty, was a sweet man. They're saying that he was a just man, a righteous man. I don't see how you can say that. You know what? Let's because some people may be thinking I'm tripping. They may be thinking I'm tripping. And don't forget, they said this video is AI.
New footage has emerged of Alex Pretty, filmed 11 days before he was fatally shot by Border Patrol officers in Minneapolis on January 24th. In the footage, filmed on January 13th, Pretty is seen here, shouting expletives and spitting at a federal immigration agent's car during a protest. He then kicks the agent's vehicle, breaking a tail light. The agents exit their vehicle and a scuffle takes place. Pretty, on the ground, loses his coat. When he gets back up, what appears to be a handgun is visible in his waistband. At no point do the videos show Pretty reaching for the gun, and it is unclear whether the federal agent saw it.
Now, this video isn't about Alex Pretty tonight, but I felt it was relevant. I felt it was relevant for the conversation. I don't know, man. I don't personally understand how I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe this is a separate live stream once we see how this plays out. Now, what we will do, if there's an update on the case as far as if there's any backlash or prosecution coming to the agents that end up taking his life. Now, I'm not saying that the shooting, let me say this again. I'm not saying that the shooting was a just shooting. And I'm not saying that it's not. I'm not speaking on the shooting itself. I'm speaking on the incident involving days before where we see him acting like a big ass child. Where we see him acting like a kid throwing a temper tantrum in a completely voluntary situation that he put himself in. This is not a man with his back against the wall. This is not him in a situation where he doesn't know what to do, where to go. He put his shoes on one at a time and walked out that door and went to this situation. He left the comfort of his home. He could have been at work. He could have been at home. We don't know if he had kids. Imagine having kids to come home to and choosing to do this instead of spending time with your child. But let's finish watching what Trump had to say about pulling out of Minnesota. And then right after that, we're going to either jump into the NAACP advocating on behalf of ICE about defunding ICE. And then we're going to be done with the politics, almost done with the politics for tonight. And we can jump into some other stuff.
Will you be pulling back immigration enforcement agents out of Minnesota?
We want to keep our country safe. We'll do whatever we can to keep our country safe.
So you're not pulling back?
No, not at all.
Also last night, President Trump in a Truth Social post called Alexander Preddy, who was the individual who died earlier this week, or last week rather, excuse me. There's a lot of news going on. He called him in a Truth Social post an agitator and perhaps an insurrectionist in relation to that new video that showed Preddy in a confrontation with agents last week prior to his death. So a lot of news there from the president as it relates to Minneapolis, but of course we'll be watching to see if there's any changes in the posture, what's going on the ground there.
Now, remember, if you disagree with anything I'm saying tonight, the link is in the chat. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. If you want to call in, if you want to get your thoughts off, if I'm tripping, if I'm saying something that don't align with you, or you feel that I'm a little bit unhinged tonight, let me know. Hit the link. Come up, talk to me. We don't have to be a hoopla, real raw conversation, nothing like that. Share your thoughts, I'll share mine. We'll see exactly what we think about it. Now, next we're going to get into something where I think it's just kind of weird. Now, on the last live stream, I touched on the new Black Panther Party, who recently got denounced, and they changed their name to the new Lion Party or something weird, something crazy, because the Black Panther Party refused to allow them to use their name. The NAACP recently came out and advocated for defunding ICE. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I thought that the NAACP was for the advancement of colored people. And now, some may say, okay, colored people, that includes immigrants or whatnot, but the formation of the NAACP was for Black people, the coloreds at the time. Now, I think it's kind of weird that a lot of times we get so many people advocating outside of our community for things that were for our community, like the new Black Panther Party that recently got denounced. We only seen them pop up now when it's time to fight for immigrants. We never seen them fight for any of our causes. And I think that's a question for some of these blackity blacks, some of these people who are ultra pro-Black, these people that go above and beyond to exert their Blackness. Why do we have so many entities that's supposed to be ours fighting and advocating for other races? Not saying it's not okay, but why do we only hear from you or hear about you when it's for other people? Where were you during our causes, during our incidents? Where were you when our communities were hit in Houston with the ice storm they had last year? Where were you when the little boy at the track meet, not saying he was justified, but when his incident made national news and they were saying that the little boy Carmelo was, stabbed the little white kid, and they were advocating on behalf of the Black kid, but nobody from the NAACP spoke up then. Nobody from the new Black Panther spoke up then. Where were you when any of these Sonia Massey shootings or George Floyd shootings? I never heard from any of these entities then when it was Black issues, but now when immigrants have an issue, we're front and center.
Independent to stand firm for such a time as this. The pushback on these extreme attacks by the people is why the Trump regime is changing its tone while still singing the same song entitled Retribution. We must not allow a suggested relaxation of ICE and now an unsuggested relaxation of ICE policies by the president to deter the actions of the people to demand a new precedent for ICE operations. The power of the people can never be defeated. This is really what democracy looks like. To paraphrase the words of President Ronald Wilson Reagan, don't trust until you can verify. ICE must not be allowed to freeze the Constitution or paralyze the very spirit of our democracy. Michigan Republicans must speak up and out without ambiguity, particularly Representatives John James, Lisa McClain, Tom Barrett, Tim Walberg.
Now, this is Detroit, Michigan's branch of the NAACP. Now, I see you, Kier. I'm on point. I'm just saying, bro, I don't understand how. Now, Detroit is one of, if not the blackest major cities in the United States. Detroit has one of the largest black populations in the United States of America. I don't think ICE is bothering Detroit. I don't think ICE is bothering black people. How many of our people come within some money and donate to the NAACP? How many of our people donate to Black Lives Matter, donate to some of these organizations that's for us? If you're for us, if you're from us, made by us, to advocate for us through our injustices, why is the NAACP, the Advancement for Colored People, advocating on behalf of immigration rights? Why is the NAACP asking the government to pull back on ICE? When one, ICE isn't bothering Detroit, ICE isn't bothering Michigan like that, and ICE isn't bothering black people. Not saying that you can't help your neighbor, but can we fix our own backyard first? Can we look at why our taxes so high first? How about this? Instead of putting the resources we're using right now to go against ICE, one personal thing that's near and dear to my heart is my money, right? How about we put these same resources into maybe investigating some of our local governments to see where our taxes are going? Let's drive down the street. Let's see how many potholes we hit in 5 minutes. Let's see how many street lights not turning on. Let's see how many buildings got graffiti on the side of them. Let's play I Spy. Let's see how many broken down corner stores and abandoned buildings, and let's maybe use our resources for our own community. Maybe like some type of program for our kids for after school. Maybe some increased cameras. You know, let's put some more shot spotter cameras around the city. Some more of those eyes in the sky, maybe. Why are we advocating for immigration rights? Why haven't I heard from the NAACP in the last umpteen years through any of our own issues? But now we're I don't know. Let's look at another one. Now, this NAACP group, I believe, was in Minneapolis. So let's catch a little bit of what they had to say. Let's see what we're gonna get out. This guy right here.
We'll hear from Bishop Howell, then our mayor of St. Paul, Mayor Hurd.
Good morning.
Now, this is a bishop of one of the churches.
I am proud to be a Minnesotan. I was born and raised in this state, but I'm grieving in the state of Minnesota today. One wonderful man said, hate cannot drive out hate.
Yes.
Only love can do that.
Yes.
Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that.
Yes.
Confusion cannot drive out confusion. Only peace can do that.
Yes.
We cannot fight fire with strange fire, but we do fight fire with peace, faith, and strength in Jesus Christ.
Yes.
The time has come. We must understand the hour that we are in. We are gathered together today with heavy hearts in response to the tragic killing of Renee Good. and the shooting that took place last night on the north side of Minneapolis. These events have shaken our community, and they have created fear, grief, and uncertainty for many families. I'm concerned about our young people today.
Now, this is a pastor one in the church. We're not going to listen to a lot of this. I'll lose all my viewers that way. Let's take a look at what some of the comments are saying on the video. Now, this is specifically this guy on screen is the pastor of a church over there in St. Paul, Minnesota. Joined on stage by the NAACP group for that area that's advocating for what you heard is Renee Good, soon to be Alex Preddy. Now, let's look at some of the comments on the video. Now, I think these comments are pretty crazy. First one, it says, "Investigate this clown." Now, the next one, "Great job. Continue to fight for American laws. Minnesota keeps staying." Look at this one. "Minnesota keeps stealing our tax money. You will get jail time. Corrupt organizations always talk the most nonsense. This guy is an idiot. Without taking sides, this shooter must be investigated. You guys don't give two." Here it is. "You guys don't give two about her, and if she had been illegal alien, you wouldn't be saying a word on her behalf. So shut up and sit down." The people are not processing this in any good way. If you ask me, this completely backfired. I don't think anyone appreciated the NAACP advocating for Renee Good or ICE. I don't think that it makes sense to anybody on any side of the fence why the NAACP and church pastors of the black community are advocating for illegal migrants and a white lady. I don't think that anyone is looking at this saying that it makes any type of sense towards the advancement of colored people. I don't think colored people appreciate these people advocating for people that's not colored people. I really don't know where to go with this. It came across my feed. I found it interesting because I had to get some more opinions. I had to open up the conversation on it because most people don't know. Most people don't see these things come across their feed now. I personally have a very boring YouTube feed, a very boring social media feed. It's all politics. It's all things that most people don't pay attention to. So this may be your only way of finding out certain things that's going on in the community. It's through smaller content creators like myself who pull these things out just from scrolling, you know what I mean? Now, the last thing I want to look at that's political, and I promise we're done with politics after this, is Nicki Minaj receiving a what's it called? A gold card from Trump. Now, Nicki Minaj has received a lot of backlash from the community for her recent endorsement of President Trump. Not a lot of people are understanding why, nor that they like the fact that Nicki Minaj has started to give a lot of light towards Trump and his organization, saying that he's a real dapper guy and that she's probably his biggest fan. Before I give my opinion on the incident itself, I'm not gonna call it an incident. Before I give my opinion on the article itself, let's watch the video of it and see exactly what Trump and Nicki had to say for themselves on this night.
Daughter, she went crazy when she heard that this was happening. I want to go. You know, she happens to be in the wrong state right now for that. But when she heard that there's a certain person that's here who's the greatest and most successful female rapper in history, Nicki Minaj. Come on. And, you know, and Nicki makes a lot of cash. Not as much as Michael Dell. Not quite. Not as much. But that's okay. But Nicki makes a lot of money, and she's generously stepping up. She's investing hundreds of thousands of dollars in Trump accounts to support the children and really the children of her incredible fans. That's great. Focus on that. Why should you give to somebody else's fans? Give to your fans. I like that. But and I just think she's great. You know, I've been hearing so much over the years because I didn't know Nicki, and I've been hearing over the years she's a big Trump supporter and a Trump fan, and she took a little heat on occasion. Her community isn't necessarily. I tell you, we did pretty damn well with that, with your community, as we say. But Nicki has been an unbelievable supporter. She gets almost as much as Mr. Wonderful over here. He's been another one that's been so good. But I'd like to ask you to come up, Nicki. Come on up. Come on. She's been such a great supporter and a great Trump accounts. And I said, I'm going to let my nails grow because I love those nails. I'm going to let those nails grow.
Now, if you ask me, Nicki Minaj has pulled what I would like to call the ultimate Trump card. At this point in her career, Nicki is on the backslide of her career as far as she's on the decline, not as far as popularity or influence, but as far as production-wise, as far as touring and everything else. She's recently became a mother, like within the last decade. She's a new mother. She's married. She's put up. I'm pretty sure she's not trying to do a tour every other year, be going from the family and things of that nature. Now, I have no problem with anybody supporting they support, whether if she was going on stage with Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, or Donald Trump. I think it's her opinion. You make the bed, you lay in it. Now, what I find funny is people judging her for supporting who she feels like she wants to support. And I don't think it's no better person to align yourself with than the most powerful person in the country. I think that no matter who's that person is, if you have a access to them, you take it. I don't care if you're a Trump supporter and Kamala Harris is the president and you have access to Kamala Harris, you take that access to Kamala Harris. That's the president of the United States. Who would not want the president of the United States in their call log? Now, let's finish watching this and see exactly what Nicki Minaj had to say about the president, what the president had to say about Nicki Minaj, and the rest of this conference.
She's so good. She's been MAGA. What can I say? She's been with us all the way, right, Alex? She's been with us all the way, and just want to thank her. And it wasn't so easy. For you, it was easier, right? You want to come up? You want to come up? Mr. Wonderful, come on up here. You've been terrific. Come on up.
Hello. Well, I don't know what to say, but I will say that I am probably the president's #1 fan. And that's not going to change. And the hate or what people have to say, it does not affect me at all. It actually motivates me to support him more. And it's gonna motivate all of us to support him more. We're not going to let them get away with bullying him and, the smear campaigns. It's not going to work, okay? He has a lot of force behind him, and God is protecting him. Amen.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's stay right here.
So we see Nicki Minaj on stage right now with 2 billionaires. Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, which I'm sure after this, you guys are going to say cancel him too because he's on stage with Trump. But you see her on stage with Mr. Wonderful, and you also see her on stage with Trump. Why would you not align yourself with a winning party? Why would you not align yourself with people that's above you that can elevate you to a whole different level. And I think that's exactly why Nicki Minaj do not care about anything you people are talking about. I'm sure Nicki Minaj sees people judging her, talking about her, supporting this guy. There's been celebrities coming out speaking against her. And I don't see why. I mean, far as I know, Nicki Minaj has pulled the ultimate trump card against everybody. Because at this point, she's going to be swimming in money. Nicki Minaj is going to be swimming in money not because of any wrongdoing, but because she's now aligned herself with business people who are tried and true and who are on the winning side right now. They're in power. Align yourself with the people that's in power and you're going to elevate.
On behalf of all the entrepreneurs in America, I'd like to thank you, Mr. President, because we create 72% of the jobs. Companies 5 to 500 employees, and all we care about is policy. We love policy, pro-business policy, and these accounts are fantastic for independence and support. I thank you very much. It's all about the entrepreneur, and I think you know that, sir.
Thank you very much. Now, there was a lot of backlash Nicki Minaj got after this little conference, and this is why I say she pulled the ultimate trump card. People were saying that, oh, we're going to sign petitions to get Nicki Minaj deported. First and foremost, we've never seen a petition in history that worked. I don't care if you got a million signatures. I've never seen a working petition. I think a lot of these things people do, a lot of these protests, petitions, and whatnot, it's a waste of time. Now, she received a lot of backlash for being on stage with Trump, and I think they ultimately, like I said, pulled the ultimate trump card after.
The president's #1 fan. And that's not going to change.
Nicki Minaj is on the pathway to U.S. citizenship after she flashed a Trump gold card and declared that she was the president's #1 fan. On January 28th, the rapper, who was born in Trinidad, held hands with the 79-year-old during his Trump account summit, where she touted her support for him as she spoke on stage.
Hello. Well, I don't know what to say, but I will say that I am probably the president's #1 fan. And him.
Hours later, Minaj uploaded a photo to X holding a Trump gold card.
Now, Nicki Minaj received a Trump gold card immediately after the summit because they wanted, so you can see in the picture, she got the same outfit on. You see the fur, you see the gold cloth, you see the nails. After the summit, she received the Trump gold card. For one, for standing up for what she believed in, taking a stand against the bullying that she was receiving online, for supporting the person she wanted to support. I think it's great. I think that she has pulled the ultimate trump card, no pun intended. How can you be mad at someone who's leveraging the country they're in? That's why they say America is the greatest country on earth, because you have opportunities like these. Now, this is an immigrant that came into this country. Nicki Minaj, for one, people need to understand, is an immigrant. If we're so pro-immigrant, why are we anti-Nicki Minaj? Are immigrants only cool if they vote a certain way? Or are all immigrants welcome and accepted? Nicki Minaj herself was born outside of this country and does not have the full citizenship that we all have. Does that make Nicki Minaj an immigrant that we don't like no more? Being in a time and a space where we're all so pro-immigration, I just think it's all contradictory. I think these people are bullies, and I think it's weird, man. And it's hard to even try to level with it because I don't know the explanation for it.
Help, she captioned the picture. She later followed up with another post on her account clarifying that her card was for citizenship. Residency, the cope is coping. Finalizing that citizenship paperwork as we speak, as per my wonderful, gracious, charming president. Thanks to the petition, I wouldn't have done it without you. "Oh, Citizen Nika, you are the moment," she wrote, adding, "Gold Trump card free of charge." President Trump introduced the card during his second term, which is described as a, quote, visa based upon an individual's ability to provide a substantial benefit to the United States, according to its website. The site also claims that applicants pay a, quote, non-refundable $15,000 DHS processing fee, and once their payment is received, as well as their documentation submitted, their application is expedited. Quote, a $1 million gift upon completion of the individual's vetting is evidence that the individual will substantially benefit the United States. An individual may also need to pay small additional fees to the United States Department of State, depending on his or her circumstances. The website also states, noting that in addition to a background check, these individuals will, quote, receive U.S. residency in record time. During Wednesday's summit, Minaj also pledged to donate between $150,000 and $300,000 to the Trump accounts. According to CNBC, those specific details about who would be eligible were not immediately available.
So that's pretty much the gist of that situation. We're not going to drag it out. We had a pretty jam-packed show today. We had a super dope show today, man. I appreciate everybody that tapped in and kick it with me. Now every live stream we do every single week, we will have a call-in link for you guys to come up on the show. I do look forward to seeing some people tapping in with me, joining me on screen for a little back and forth, a little friendly back and forth. It's been a dope night, man. Like I said, we've had about 108 people total tapped in throughout the night. I think the highest we got at one time was maybe 8 people. I'm super grateful, no matter if it's one person, 2 people, or a billion people in here, man. I appreciate everybody that tapped in and spent some time with me tonight. We're going to do a live stream every single week. I'm going to try to get the volume up to twice a week. I do work full time, so we got to squeeze it in where we can squeeze it in. I'm going to try to get some uniformity to this. We have one of the best productions on YouTube when it comes to these live streams. I know some people just jump on to talk to you, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I take pride in bringing in a show with some great transition, have clips ready for you, have a good structure in it. Hopefully you guys appreciate it, because I definitely appreciate you for joining in with me. You make it all worth it. Appreciate you for tapping in. Hope to see you on the next one. You know my slogan, I'm here till I'm not.